Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the 2026 GSL CK number 4, day 1, our second series of the broadcast. Do apologize for the extended break. Do apologize, but we were just getting our players ready. Videos are now done. Cameras are set, and we are getting ready for our second series, another PvZ, Reynor versus Classic. Oh boy. And I do think it's quite fortunate that we get to experience this matchup as often as we are tonight, just because this is one of the more impacted matchups on the PTR because of the warp gate changes, because the economy changes as well. We saw in the last series that Hero was having a very hard time kind of building up or even just approaching the mid game. We saw in that final game attempted to rush into Skytos. We saw previously attempted adept aggression as well, but struggling to defend. Something that I should have emphasized, I don't think it really impacted the games themselves, but the battery is also a little bit weaker. When it comes to the update to the PTR, the starting energy on the battery goes from 100 down to 75, even for batteries back at home. So it does mean that those batteries are going to be starting with less energy. That is going to be a little weaker. That does make for a more difficult defense, but I say it doesn't really impact the game because that doesn't really influence what happened in game 3 or even in game 1, where Hero fought without any batteries at his 4th base, if you recall, in Winter Madness. So something to bear in mind. Didn't really impact the state of play in the previous games. Even game 2 on Ruby Rock, if you remember, Hero didn't see the all-in until it was too late, and the batteries were at the 3rd base when the attack happened at the natural. So like that doesn't really impact things there either, but something to bear in mind, as that will, I'm sure, come up at some point in this series. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player, the Italian Zerg representing Basilisk. It is a Reynor. Ah, beautiful. Oh my god. As we have both Reynor alongside Classic stepping into the ring. Let's go. Let us go as we're jumping into our best of 5 into our fresh series here. Game 1 is going to be on Ruby Rock. We spoke about this previously, but Ruby Rock is a smaller map of the map pool. Aggression is typically more favored here. Shorter rush distance by ground, more open and accessible 3rd and 4th bases, and area in between the bases as well. And this culminated in Lambo going for a big 3 base all in, 2.5 base all in, really the German taxi. And Hero, he didn't see it coming. Remember, Hero, he had no probe scout that game. He had limited oracle scouting as well, and Hero didn't see the all in coming until it was already too late. I'm not saying that we'll see that here, but that's what we saw previously between Lambo and Hero. We'll see how Reynor does approach instead, as already going for the forward natural base. So the unnatural natural here for Reynor. Because this forward expansion, it does mean the creep will be spreading across the map faster. This may impact the game. It's something in the back of my mind, at least, is the potential for faster creep. So we have that forward expansion. Likewise, we do see Classic setting up here on the low ground, standard opener here, gateway into Nexus. Once again, I wouldn't be surprised if for both of these players, it's their first time playing on the updated version of the PTR. I'm hoping they looked into it. I hope so. Has now gate expanded to Cybercore, standard opener out of Classic. Likewise, Reynor settling in as well. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. We're really going to be looking at the gases to see if Reynor stays in, if he pulls out, what tech we get into, whether we open up into an early Evo chamber, early Roach Horn, early Lair instead. Likewise, we'll keep an eye on Classic, on his pylon placement, and on his tech of choice, whether it's going to be Stargate or whether it's going to be Twilight Council or even Robo. As I mentioned previously, we have been seeing some of the Protoss players experiment a little bit with robo-heavy play. We have seen that from Max Pax, for example, in the PTR weeklies. I have seen him experiment. But now, though, just calming down. Just calming things down, hunting down the scouting worker. Shutting down Classic. And we have our tech of choice, going to be the Stargate opener. Okay, going to be opening up Stargate into Oracle, into Harass across the map. I mean, I'm assuming Oracle, technically we could see a Void Ray based opener as well, but I'm not really too fond of the idea of going Void Ray and trying to rush into tech on such a small map like Ruby Rock. It would be quite risky to open Void Ray here, I feel. Bring that up just because we did already see some Void Ray play earlier in the broadcast. Now they were calming down. Adept does shade in towards the natural. Gets one drone already. Ooh, almost two. Does shade away. Shades away. One drone kill, not bad. Second Adept does move out. And so does the Oracle. Oh, sorry, as the Oracle is now just starting. I'm used to this being lined up. And now Clash is just poking, prodding, pulls away in position to expand and claim the third. And Reynor's here to attempt to delay. Speaking of, does get us around. The Oracle is, oh, not going to be out in time. That's going to be a cancel. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, brutal cancellation. Nice pick off here by Reynor. Denies the third base. Does rotate over the Oracle. Thankfully, he's out in time and will deflect the Lings. But so far, good damage. And interestingly enough, it's not Void Ray first, it's Void Ray second. Huh. Okay. So Oracle first into Void Ray, still designed to hunt down Overlords, as it's going to be a Lair first out of Reynor. We're popping off. So once again, running it back. Interesting choice here. Now we see why. So we do see a delayed Void Ray opener into a second Stargate into Mass Void Ray. This is looking very similar to what we saw previously. Meanwhile, early Lair out of Reynor. That is a Lair before Roach Warren and before Evo Chamber. This was around a 4:30-ish Lair timing. With the early Lair, this is going to gain access to a fast Spire or a fast Hydra Den. Both tech structures are going to be available earlier than normal, and we'll see what we get into. We'll see if Reynor can piece together what's going on. We shall see. Overlord is hunted down. Lings they poke in. Void Ray is revealed. Seeing a Void Ray after the Oracle is suspicious, for sure. It is definitely suspicious. And what's it going to be? Lair is now done. If we go for an early Hydra Den, there is going to be a timing here. There's going to be a window in time where we can go for a big, like, Ling Hydra all in and just break the third. For now, we do scout a second Void Ray. Massive scout. He knows. Yeah, he knows. Bam, there's a Hydra Den. And there is going to be that window where we can go for a Hydra all in. Again, it's very abnormal to have a second Void Ray out at the stage of the game. So good call out of Reynor. And it's going to be a tough hold. If you recall, we spoke about this at the very beginning of this game, actually. I was like, I'm not really too fond of the idea of going Void Ray opener here on Ruby Rock because you do leave yourself vulnerable and all-ins are favored on this map. And I have to echo that sentiment here, right? Like, defending the store base is going to be so difficult on this map, and going Mass Void Ray does leave you vulnerable. Here come the Hydras. It's just a little bit unlucky. It's a little bit unlucky here. And by unlucky, I mean that Reynor went Lair first, right? If he had gone for an earlier Roach Warren to play a little bit safer, or to go into, say, Evo Chamber and a +1 melee into a later Lair timing, then Classic would have more time, but that's not the case here. Because here comes the all-in. So Reynor is going to cut workers at 68. That is 3-base saturation. Moving out with this creep. If you remember at the very beginning of the game, we spoke about how with this forward expansion we can spread creep faster, and there it is, halfway across the map. It all played into each other. Forward base, faster creep, earlier Lair, earlier Hydra Den, into our Hydra all in. And here comes Reynor. Again, not the same all in we saw out of Lambo, but here nonetheless. Hydras have arrived, they knock down the front door. We got Void Rays to defend against Mass Hydra. Ay, ay, ay. There are no batteries. Sorry, there's one. There's one battery in the mineral line. And Void Rays, they just go down. They just go down one after the other. 1, 2, 3, 4 Void Ray kills. And with that, Reynor, he has broken through. He will overwhelm. And Reynor, he will snowball out of control. Again, it was a very risky maneuver here for Classic to go into a Void Ray rush like this. It was just very unfortunate that Classic was... Sorry, the Reynor was set up directly to just hard counter to go Mass Hydra. GG gets called. And Reynor takes the lead in the series. Whew. GG. GG well played. Reynor does take a lead. Again, just a really unfortunate turn of events when it comes to the build orders themselves. When it comes to Classic blindly going into Mass Void Ray and Reynor blindly setting up for... I mean, I say blindly setting up for Hydras, blindly going for the earlier Lair, but also the Hydra Den was a reaction. He scouted. Remember, he scouted with the Zergling. He saw the second Void Ray. I would say that that was a little bit on Classic, that he should have kept that second Void Ray hidden in the main to build them up and back them up and keep them hidden. That's something that he failed to do and failed to accomplish, and it prompted Reynor to go into the Hydra Den. But it is possible that he would have rushed Hydras anyway. It's possible that that would have been the case. GG. GG, well played. With that, Reynor takes the lead, and now we're going to be loading into game numero 2. Going to be loading into a much larger map this time, Winter Madness. Ooh, let's go. Larger map in the map pool, longer rush distance by grounds. So I would typically say that if Classic were to want to go into like a Skytoss rush, this would be a better map for it. But I don't like the idea of going mass Void Ray and going into mass Skytoss 2 games in a row. That's the issue that I have. Not too fond of that idea. Just because Reynor, his opponent's already in that mindset. Like, heavy Stargate play is already in the forefront of his mind, but it might just be possible that heavy Stargate play is the current meta in the PTR. I did mention that we've been seeing quite a bit of it in the PTR, and there's reasoning for that because of how, just because of how difficult it is to get into heavy gateway play. But here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. The blue Protoss player himself down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. For Virtus Pro, it is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Italian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is Reynor. Let's go. Let's go. I also do apologize if I did not have the correct colors on last game in regards to the frames over the webcams. I just noticed it, so I do apologize. If the webcam frames are the wrong color, I'll try to stay on top of it. I'll do I'll do my best. Here we go. Welcome one and all. Again, Winter Madness, as we mentioned before, is a larger map of the map pool, longer rush distance by ground, a much more defendable natural, more defendable third base, more defendable fourth base as well. Defensive rotations in between these expansions is much easier. Likewise, we have choke points moving into them as well, so as a result, you do have a greater defensive advantage, and we often do see longer games. In saying that, Hero did struggle against a 4-base all-in on this map, if you recall. Lambo, he lost a bunch of workers, he committed on Lair Tech, and went pure Ling main Hydra, and Hero had a hard time defending. But if you remember, Hero also had 0-side defense at his 4th base, and he was cornered at his 4th as well, whereas we could have seen a stronger defense at his 3rd. So there are other factors that did kind of influence that game. But just because the map is large, it doesn't mean you can't be aggressive on the map, for sure. Oh, hello. Hatch, Jesus. Typer agreed. Going hatch before pool. Okay, Reynor being very greedy here, going for a delayed pool. Delayed gas guys are in favor of hyper greed, and we'll see if we can get away with it. Now, typically, when you cut corners like this, because your gas income is going to be so delayed, it is not uncommon to see Zerg players skip link speed and actually spend their gas elsewhere and maybe even be a little bit greedier. We'll keep an eye on Reynor. We'll see if he goes for link speed or if he goes for something else more sinister here. But regardless, very greedy play out of Reynor, for sure. For sure. Bearing in mind as well that I believe this should be eating into the queen production, as the pool is going to be done, but I believe the second queen should be delayed. Yeah. So there we go. We only have 1 queen being produced instead of 2. So technically, in the early game, we have a lower queen count to defend, and that might be impactful. But we can see that Classic is just playing standard. Just gate expanded to Cyber Core. Zealot first as well, just to be even safer. Oh, 0 probe scout out of Classic, actually. True. So if you remember, there was that one game where Hero didn't probe scout as well. It was game 2 against Lambo, if you recall. And I should also emphasize that probe scouting is a little bit more difficult to actually difficult. It does impact your economy even more so than previously because you start with so few workers. So there is rationale and a reason why there is no probe scout in that one game from Hero, and even here from Classic as well, where he wants to cut some corners. He wants to be a little bit greedier here. The downside though is that Classic fails to see how greedy Reynor is, how many corners are being cut, and the potential punishment of Reynor as well. Classic's just playing blind, and Reynor gets away with it unscouted. Unscouted. Meanwhile, link speed is on the way and Reynor stays in gas. Ooh, that is interesting. Okay. Let's go. Behind this, it is going to be a Stargate open out of Classic, going Stargate into Oracle. Classic will claim his 3rd. And this time Classic will be allowed to expand. If you recall, last game he was forced to cancel. But Reynor, he's just really droning. Really droning, saturating, making a handful of safety Zerglings before building up. And now we see what the early gas is for, or the continued gas mining for that lair. So just like last game, early lair at Arena. Ooh, meanwhile the Oracle does find some damage. 1, 2, 3, 4 drone kills. Can we get 5? Ooh, not quite. But no Spore. No Spore. 5 drones go down. 6 drone kills. We're getting out of hand here. And Reynor is punished for his greed. Yeah, punished for skipping out on his spores. 6 drone kills. Very nice damage here by Classic. Very necessary damage considering how greedy Reynor has been this game. Oh, has to be careful there. As Classic does push further in. And Classic, he will not see the tech of choice. He does see the lack of Evo Chamber or Baliness or Roachhorn here at the natural at least, but it could be in the main. We can see that we're rushing into the lair, and this could be for another fast Hydrogen. Reynor going for a delayed Evo Chamber. Lair is now done. Show us your tech of choice. As gases are being taken, and there it is. Yep, it's going to be the fast Hydrogen once again. So as we're seeing here, the kind of opener is very similar to last game. Obviously, greedier play by Reynor was somewhat punished, thankfully, by the Oracle. So there is some counter play here. There's a bit of a back and forth. But because of the early lair, because of the early Hydrogen, we're going to get early upgrades, and the Hydra is going to be coming online much faster here. We might just commit on 4 bases. I can see a world where Reynor drones up to, say, 76, like 76, 73 workers. It cuts worker production, builds up purely Ling Hydra, and then we see something very similar to what we saw from Lambo as well, just committing on a lair tech army, maxing out, and then just breaking the 4th base of Classic. Meanwhile, Classic is going to be taking up, going for Templar Archives, heading into Storm. Okay, so much more standard direction here, taking a bit of Storm. The Oracles will deflect the Lings. Hydras are amassing, and the first big clue here, the first big tell is going to be Reynor. When does he cut workers, and does he get an Infestation Pit? Second Evo Chamber. Okay, this is a sign of a longer game. Second chamber, second upgrades. Reynor's droning up even harder. Catching out some gateway units. Very nice catch. Yeah, Stalker's Adept's getting called out. Blink was merely seconds away from finishing. But that second Evo Chamber and the extra wave of drones here is indicative of something greater. We have 82 drones. Plus 1 melee is now on the way. Wings are deflected. Classic gaining some ground, forcing an army. It's forcing a response. 10 Hydras on the way. And Classic, he will deny the base. No creep. Yeah, limited creep spread. It's going to be a cancel. Nice pick off out of Classic. Finding some damage. Even supply blocking Reynor. Ooh, big supply block. Forcing out 5 Overlords. Very nice. But as he's being active, he's forced back home. He's forced back home. A better Ling run by here by Reynor. Canceling the 4th base and forcing everything to turn back around. It all turns around. Ay, ay, ay. With that Reynor, he's amassing. And on the one hand, yes, Reynor, he is getting better upgrades here, working on +2. But I still don't see any further tech. I still don't see an Infestation Bit. I don't see a Baliness either. It's just still pure Ling Hydra. And Reynor's about to max. He's about to max out, and soon he can push out. And I'll be honest, it's going to be very difficult here for Classic to maintain that 4th base. It's going to be a tough hold. But no, Reynor throws down the pit. Throws down the pit, ready for Hive. Half the army gets caught out. Oh, who catches who though? Storm is not ready. Yeah, Storm is not yet ready. Reynor shaving off some zealots at the same time. Reynor comes in for the counterattack, coming from behind. Catching out one of the Oracles, and the base is going to be cancelled for a second time. Ay, ay, ay. And Classy just cannot expand. Storm now comes in, but he's just being torn apart. He cannot keep up. Not like this. 11 probes going down. Hydras, they move in once again, catching up more gateway units, more stalkers, more zealots. Nice storming on the Hydras though. Oh my god. A very value storm as we go back into the storm as well. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Reynor, he's already reached peak economy. 82 drones. Reynor still out of control. He does bust on in. 19 probe kills, still not yet done. Links into the main. And again, Classy just cannot keep up. Now, what's important about this game compared to what we expect in the live game, the build and the direction of the players was what we expect, of course, but something that was very different here, which I guess we'll get into after this as we surround the Stalker. Stalker's going to be shut down, and from here we just snowball out control. We snowball out control, break through the Mortal, break through the Stalkers, the Oracle goes down, and with that there is nothing left. We have 1 Archon, 0 Archons. Warpin will finish. But this is all that Classic has left. So comparing this to the live version of the game is because GG gets called. Reynor, he will take a 2-0 lead in the series. GG. Comparing this to the live version of the game here, in the live version, typically, and again, because gateway play is more accessible, we typically expect more aggression from the Protoss player in the mid game with their initial Blink Stalkers. We saw Classic be a little bit active, and he did deny the expansion. That is true. Classic, he denied the 5th expansion, if you recall. He did force a cancel, but usually we expect like earlier and heavier aggression there, and we have more of a back and forth in the mid game. Likewise, ideally, you'd have extra resources to be able to defensively work back at home, to be able to defend your 4th expansion, have that kind of counterplay. Here, because of the barrier to entry, because of the excess resources you're spending, like that does kind of weaken the gateway strength and the gateway aggression, and it also makes it more difficult to be more to reactively warp in, just because again, like you're spending resources on that production. That does have like a cascading effect here as well. I'm not necessarily saying that that's kind of what this led into, but it did allow, or it did mean that Classic just had less of a presence in this game, less of a presence in the mid game, harder time keeping up with the aggression, with the counterattacks, with run bys, and in the end, GG well played. Reynor, he was able to shut down the aggression, force the get the counterattack going, force the army back home, maintain map control, and again reach that peak economy. GG well played. And now we're getting into game number 3. Reynor, he's leading the series 2-0, and we'll see how Classic will approach game 3 as we load into Tourmaline. Tourmaline, a much smaller map of the map pool, very short rushes by ground. Aggression is heavily favored here, and we're expecting something different out of Classic. From both players, actually. We're expecting something more aggressive. We'll get into it. As again, so far, as we've seen in the previous iteration of the PTR, Protoss players have been struggling, for sure. It doesn't help that we have the economy changes and the warp gate changes and other changes on top of that as well, like the shield battery change, the warp-in mechanic change. Bearing in mind as well that this is still, what, day 2 of the new version of the PTR, and because the warp gate mechanic is now, it's been lessened, now it's cheaper to morph in warp gates than previously. There's still potential here for players to explore a little bit more and maybe find a way to be more active and aggressive and still have that presence that we're missing here. It's hard to say. If you're familiar with my thoughts on set piece, oh no, Classic, he's smudging a little bit. He's smudging in the chat. Smudge. But if you're curious about our thoughts, we've been vocal about them during our talk shows in regards to the PTR. But I was fully on board when this was initially revealed with the idea of the warp gate cost just being removed completely. Just removing that warp gate cost, but still having the increased production on regular gateways after warp gate is researched, so you have the choice between the two, but you're not like forcing, or you're not like just like cutting out completely the ability to be too active. Just get rid of the at least for me, like personally, I'm for the opinion of just removing the cost of transforming warp gates, but you keep the boost on regular gateways so you can kind of pick and choose which one to delve into, and you don't have that punish for players for the ability to warp in and morph in those warp gates. But we'll see. I mean, they're heading in that direction with the change, with the resource nerf. That is true. But let's go. Let's go. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg leading the series 2-0. 2-0 representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Hold on. There you go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. We are getting into game number 3, potentially the final game of the series. I'm hoping for a back and forth. I want to see some more dynamic play here and a dynamic series, but the pressure is on Classic. And once again, welcome to Tourmaline. Tourmaline is a very small map with a map pool, short rush distance by ground. Aggression is heavily favored here. Unlike on other maps, the attack path from natural to natural is just one straight line. There's no high ground, no low ground, no points of elevation. The one thing that can keep you at bay is this tall grass. There's tall grass in the center, so you can get like the first volley off if you have map control. You can also scout as well, but outside of that, it's just very direct. And on top of that, it's a very open area outside of the natural. Very open here outside of the natural. Very open and accessible here at the third base location as well, and a relatively open center of the map. So typically, we have seen Protoss players and Terran players try to be more aggressive here to try to end the game a little bit earlier to avoid a situation where the Zerg player has map control and has momentum and has control of Tourmaline. But we'll see. We shall see. As the pressure is very much so on Classic. Very much so. I think I had colors wrong last game. I think, maybe. I don't know. I was so engrossed, Bappy. I was so engrossed. My apologies. The color frames on the players are being changed manually, by the way, so I just have to remember to do that. So I don't apologize. It should be correct for this game, though. Now we're calming down. We do have our initial openers here. So far, Reynor does go hatch gas pool. He pulls out a gas. There's no crazy, like, fast third expansion this time before spawning pool. There's no hypergreed that we saw in Winter Madness. Likewise, Classic looking to break out and expand. And, ooh, opening up with an early sentry. Okay, we're being a little bit more experimental here. Classic, you have my attention. Have my attention. Setting up the pylon on the right-hand side. Warp gate is on the way. Remember, so something that we have yet to experience this entire broadcast actually is the faster warp-ins. So in the past, many years ago, it was possible to warp in with fast warp-ins across the map with just pylons. Of course, that was eventually changed in more recent years to require gateways, and we're still getting gateways here. They are necessary for fast warp-ins, but what this is doing is hiding the production at least. So if the Overlord goes in, there's going to be limited vision and limited scouting as to what's going on. Classic does go for his expand, but really, how many gateways do we have? We have 2 gateways here at the natural, we have 2 gateways across the map. It's going to be 4 gate play out of Classic. Oh, did I say 4? We're getting into 5. 6! Let's go. It's going to be a 2 base all in, 6k 2 base all in, fake third. Fake third expansion out of Classic. He's not making probes, he's not going to saturate. Lings, they will get us around. They get on top of the sentry. They try to. Nice force field. Nice force field so far. Classic is holding, is defending, is keeping his arm, he's maintaining his army, and all these sentries is a massive tell. So Reynor, he might not see all of this that's going on, but he does see the sentries, which is abnormal. And this screams Soul Train, right? This screams like a crazy gateway heavy all in. Not quite a Soul Train, as there's no robo with this. There's no immortal production. And did I say 6 gate all in? I believe we're getting up to 8. Jesus. Oh my god. 3 gates back at home. 5 across the map. So it's going to be a 2 base 8 gate all in. But bearing in mind, there's no upgrade with this. There's no charge, there's no blink. It's going to be purely sentries and slow lots. Oh, no, he's going to scout. No! Ducklings! Oh my god, it was so close. They barely don't scout the proxy. Alright, we got spotted. Reynor to get a safety Roach Warren. Roach is already amassing. Reynor, he will need Ravagers. He does spot the proxy, he knows. Yeah, now he's aware. He was already playing it safe, cutting works at 51. Ravagers forced to be cancelled. Ooh, Roaches get locked down. Yeah, nice catch on the Roaches, but at the same time, these are slow lots. Who really catches who as so many sentries get locked down and it's all falling apart? Again, a very experimental build here by Classic, just kind of throwing whatever he could at the wall here, but in the end we'll lose all the sentries, has to spend all of his force fields, and without even Ravagers, Reynor, he defends. He defends, he holds on, and with that, Reynor, he snowballs out of control, he shuts down the all-in. Again, 2-base 8-gate all-in with a fake third, but purely vanilla gateway units, no charge, no blink. Get very experimental, and this can work if Reynor was droning and not getting a Roach Warren. But he played it safe. Why did he play it safe? He saw the sentries, right? He saw the sentries early on, which is very abnormal. That prompted Reynor to get a Roach Warren and to be ready. GG gets called, and with that, Reynor, he will claim the series. Ah, look at him go. He's so happy. He will claim the series 3-0. GG. GG, well played. There it is. Congratulations here to Reynor for claiming the series. Again, at this point, I mentioned earlier that in the lead up to this game, Classic, he was smudging a little bit. Like he was not feeling good about the series, not feeling good about the state of play, of course, and he was lamenting a little bit. And you could see that in his play here, where he just like went for just a wild, crazy all in. It just kind of fell apart, and I think Reynor, like, he's aware of that as always. Yeah, just at this point, like Classic, he was a little bit checked out. GG, well played. With that, congratulations, Reynor. He will claim the series and he will advance on into the next round. And let's catch up on that bracket. Let's go. Exclamation mark. Oh, there's no commands in the chat, unfortunately, but here we go. Let's just have a look ourselves together. We are halfway through the broadcast. Lambo took down Hero 3-0. Reynor takes down that Classic 3-0 as well. And now we have 2 matchups left. We have Maru versus Showtime and Clem versus Solar. We're done with the ZvPs, and now we're going to be embracing a ZvT and TVP. We're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we will have one of said matchups. I'm not entirely certain as to which one is up next. Videos will soon be underway. Looks like it's going to be the Maru series. Okay, so Maru versus Showtime will be up next. Protoss versus Terran. We'll see you soon after the break. Hoping for more of a back and forth. Again, ZvP, I'll be frank, ZvP is a matchup that has been having some issues when it comes to the PTR. What's important, though, is that, again, we're testing said matchups, we're testing said games. We just had an update yesterday when it comes to the PTR, and I mean, this is what testing is for, right? To see like what's currently happening with the meta that's unfolding in the PTR, what is working, what is not working, and ideally trying to find solutions or trying to propose or even have feedback and maybe even propose changes and maybe have that influence the next iteration of the PTR as well. So again, it's tournaments like this that allow us to actually embrace that. They'll allow us to explore the PTR and see kind of what's currently happening and what we like, what we don't like, and what we can potentially change moving forward coming into the live version of the game. I think what's important here is to ideally be a little bit more hopeful that, of course, you know, that these games are being taken into consideration and they're all being watched, and ideally we have more iteration upon said PTR. We've had update 2. Do we get an update 3 later on down the line? We'll see. For now, though, we'll soon jump into Mario vs. Showtime. We'll see you soon after the break. See you soon.